So find a seated or a kneeling position and find that long spine. With the eyes closed, just kind of check into a couple of things that I'll talk about, and I like to remind you, we don't want to be too soft, but we don't want to be too hard with any of this. Anything I say, we can take to an extreme and then we're not balanced, right? Balance sits somewhere in the middle. So you don't want your shoulders rounded all the way forward and your upper back behind you, but you also don't want to throw them back, right? And stuff your chest out. So can you find that your shoulders are in an in-between soft place? Elbows usually draping underneath the shoulders is a pretty good way to keep the shoulders soft. You can explore that. Maybe palms are up today, maybe palms are down. And again, I can give you, this is the reason why in yogi, in yoga, we believe this, but really, I mean, like turn them up and then turn them down, and which one feels good? Maybe the hands on the belly feels best of all. Everything we do, every class we teach, even if I forget to remind you, let it be an exploration of the body you brought at that moment. And then without actively like really pushing down, right? Feel your roots moving down. That might be just, visual imagination. Maybe you feel the energy of the earth exchanging with you. And when we have those roots, it allows us to rise up. I am a very tense person. So I like to take a few moments and find out what in my body is working that does not need to. So maybe scanning your body, if that's your body type as well, and softening the areas that don't need to be working. And if you're someone who everything is soft most of the time, is there something that you could engage that would help support you a little more? Maybe bring your energy up a little more. And then before we move, let's bring our awareness to our breath for just a few moments. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but as goes the breath, so goes the mind. So if we're really shallow up in the chest and breathing quickly, chances are very, very good that the mind is very active and moving all over, right? Having a hard time focusing. So if we start to lengthen and deepen that breath, does that help the mind do the same thing? Not still itself, right? But maybe we find we can concentrate a little more. Maybe we find we stay present for just that extra breath before the mind wanders off. And with the eyes closed, if you need to open them and look at the screen, I'll never take it away from you, but try to follow. It's something we do all the time, the things we're about to do, right? So reach your fingertips down towards the floor. And then turn your palms up, and with an inhale, reach your arms up. And again, if you can do this with your eyes closed, just tuning into the feelings in the body. Exhale, turn the palms down and reach the arms down by your side again. And just that 2 more times. Inhale, turn the palms up, reach the arms up. And exhale, reach those arms out and down. Palms can turn down. Inhale, reach those arms up, and this time we're going to leave them up. Maybe shoulder distance, maybe a little wider, depends on how it is in there. Now we're going to play a little bit with our vestibular system as we move throughout class today. That's the system that helps you balance, right? So try to keep your eyes closed, but you're going to reach your right fingertips back down. That arm comes down and the fingertips come to the ground, and you move that left arm over and away as the left buttocks bone sinks down. right? So we're playing with it a little bit where we have a little more support, so that a little later when we try to play with this without as much support, we can maybe still find balance. Inhale the arms up. So this is our regular old side stretch. You know this, right? Bring those left fingertips down to the ground, leaning to the left. Sink the right buttocks down and reach the right arm away. Soft shoulders, tongue, jaw, brow. Inhale, bring both of those arms back up. We're going to go into twist. If you can leave the eyes closed, I'm going to suggest it for this one last thing here for now anyway. So twisting to the right, my left hand comes to my outer right leg, my left fingertips behind me on block or ground. Take an inhale, get taller still, so you're in a twist to the right. Exhale, moving in nice and gently. Turning the body forward, let's inhale our arms out and up. Also challenging the mind, right? Can you do this without vision? Turning to the left, meaning direction-wise. Right hand, outer left leg, left fingertips behind. Inhale, get tall. And exhale, turning into your twist. Nice and gentle. Don't force yourself in this morning. And turning the body forward. One more time. Inhale your arms up. This time you're going to bring your palms together and bring them past your face, all the way down in front of the heart. Pause there. Inhale. Exhale, bow your head in. And before we open the eyes, let's just take a moment and set an intention for the practice today. Finding balance, breathing, staying calm, being present, being gentle with my right knee, being gentle with myself, etc., whatever it is. And lift the head, release the hands, and inhale, open the eyes. Let's go ahead and come off of whatever boost we're on, and we're going to lay down on our back body for a little bit. You can move the blanket as well. Have it handy for, we will do a little bit of lunge work, so you might want to put a knee on it later. I'm going to take a quick drink on the way down, friends. I'll meet you on your back. And let's just start by bringing that right knee into the chest. And then go ahead and bring it down. So add breath. Inhale, left knee is going to come up. And exhale, left comes down. Inhale, right knee comes in, interlace behind the right thigh. Exhale, right heel pushes up, straightening the leg. Inhale, bending knee in. So moving on the breath quite a bit right now. Exhale, bringing that foot down. Inhale, left knee in, interlace behind the thigh. Use the exhale to push the heel up, connect to the breath. Inhale, hugging knee in. Exhale, bringing foot down. Now from there, without the arms, inhale, bring the right knee into the chest and try not to round the low back. It's the beginning of core work. We'll keep adding on. Exhale, bringing that right foot down. So you have a little lumbar curve, keep it. Inhale, left knee moving up and in, any amount, doesn't have to go far. And bringing that back down, right? So still lumbar curve, bring the right knee in, soft shoulders. And this time, go ahead and reach that right heel up to the sky. Bend the knee in and put the foot down on the ground, all while the hips and the spine stay stable. Inhale the left knee in. Exhale, left heel up, any amount. Inhale, bend the knee in and bring that foot down. Now put your hands on your thighs for a moment. Push the thighs away, but the thighs pull back into the hands. We sometimes do this to find the TA, the front low abdomen, right? Now keep that, bring the arms down, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna amplify what we did a little bit, bringing the right knee in, inhale. Exhale, push the right heel up. Inhale, let that right leg stay straight or towards straight and drop it down towards the floor, any amount. Bring it back into the chest and put the foot down on the ground. Again, don't let that spine and the hips change. Inhale, left knee in. Exhale, left heel pushes up, straight leg. Let that left heel drop down any amount. You got that right foot to put pressure in to keep your hips stable. And then bring that knee back into the chest and bring that foot back down. That version one more time. Inhale, right knee in. Try to soften the shoulders. Exhale, push the heel up. Inhale, let that heel start to move down and forward. Inhale, hugging knee back into chest. You got that whole inhale to do that, by the way. Exhale, you got that whole exhale to bring that foot down. Inhale, left knee in. So if you're zippy, maybe slow it down a little bit. Exhale, push the heel up. Inhale, letting left heel drop. It doesn't have to go all the way to the earth. Don't do that if it's not right for your body. Inhale, bringing knee into chest. My shoulders and my neck are working like crazy now. Exhale, bring that down, right? So I have to keep reminding them. Pause for a moment and just tune in to what's happening in your body. If there's anywhere you have tension, let it go. And then walk your feet out as wide as your mat-ish. Tee the arms out and windshield wiper. And you can go ahead and follow your own breath. As per usual, my main request, windshield wiper twist is the knees down to one side, up to the center and to the other, is that you don't move too fast. And the reason I'm going to give you today is that breath. We're trying to have a nice, slow, steady breath today. And if we're moving fast, our breath is not moving slow. You can always turn your head the opposite direction of the knees if and when that feels really good to add in, and it might not feel good today, and that's okay. And then when you have gone to your second side, I didn't call out which side to start on, you'll come back to center. We're going to meet there. We're going to walk our feet back in, and we're going to go into bridge pose, right? So bring the arms closer to the side. Go ahead and push into the feet and roll up. Let this just be a light bridge. We're just getting in there. You can interlace, grab mat or robot arms. All three are on the table. So rock your shoulders under you a little bit. Lengthen the buttocks to the backs of the knees as you root down through your arms, whatever you have on the ground, surface-wise, right? The feet, including the inner edge of the feet. And maybe even just gently, so gently, push the back of the head down into the ground so gently that the muscles alongside the neck give a little support right now. And you can let those shoulders escape as you roll back down. We'll come back to some bridge and core work later. So I just want to kind of set us up for it, right? So as we push down, we're going to roll up one more time. Your choice with your arm embrace. In the beginning, I usually don't interlace just because I don't know that I need to go that extreme. I can, I don't know that I need to. Push the arms down, buttocks flesh to the backs of the knees. And again, what do you have on the ground? And can it gently root down all bits and pieces of it, right? Take another breath from there and roll back down. You can let those shoulders escape a little bit. And then from there, we're going to grab the backs of the knees and we're going to rock and roll, right? So you're going to go ahead and you're going to let your hips rock up a little bit and then roll up. If for any reason this hurts your tailbone or your low back, you don't have to join, but we're going to try and do that 2 more times. So the inhale brings you back, right? We're going to try to not use much momentum. And then the exhale, low belly, low belly, low belly to try to bring you up. And then your timing, try to do that 1 more time. Inhale, rocking back. If you need momentum, take it. Exhale, but someday maybe we don't need as much momentum. Once you get to the tippity top, shoulder blades down the back, try to find that natural curve of the low back. Move into an imaginary block with the thighs and maybe the arms release. Maybe the heels stay on the ground today or just a little bit up. Remember, you can gauge where that is best for your body. And if you can straighten your legs, all the power to you. I cannot without losing my low back. Take an inhale. And then put your right shin in front of your left. Get nice and tall through the spine and maybe folding forward over, right? If that helps you find your right buttocks. Any of my friends who need support systems under knees with blocks or blankets or one leg extended, please take care of your hips and your knees here. Maybe rocking the upper body just a little bit from right to left. That might A, amplify the glute stretch, and B, it might start to involve the muscles at the top of the sacrum. You're going to wander over to the left, keep that right buttocks down and reach that right arm forward and away, and just lengthen out of that right, beautiful, beautiful right side, right? You can even play with if the ribs turn down to the left groin, does that change the stretch? Probably, but does that feel like that's better for you? Or maybe the ribs rolling towards the sky gets you a little more. Where is it that you're like, oh yeah, that's the sweet spot today? Come on back to your center. Come on up. Now I'm going to break it down real briefly just so you're not holding these hard poses. I'm going to reveal my body a little more so you can see what the heck I'm talking about. So we're going to go into boat, full boat, Purna, Navasana, and then we're going to go into half boat, right? But they're two different poses very much in what happens in our pelvis. So the first one you guys know real good because I go over this a lot, right? And you don't have to hold it right now. You can just watch for a second. But when I'm in this one, I have the natural curve of my low back, right? And I'm more on the top of my buttocks bones. I'm using that low belly, that push-pull action we did can help if you need it, right? And then I come to whatever that position is before that wants to switch. Now, when I shift, I'm going to pull my low belly in. It's almost like moving into cat pose. I'm going to push my feet forward and I'm going to be on the, you see how I'm kind of, I flatten out on the top of my pelvis, right? Or the top rim, I guess. I move towards it and then I try to bring it back up into that other position and really focus down here today when you do that, right? So we'll play with it now in action. Grab the backs of the thighs. So now you get to join me. Maybe flexing the feet, right? And reaching those legs up to that point where the low back wants to change shape. It's fine to do both, but they're both different things, right? Maybe the arms release, maybe you walk today. And you don't have to do this next piece if you're like, oh, heck no. But most people find this other one easier. Go ahead and push through the ball mounds of the toes, roll back a little bit, tuck that pelvis, right? Think cat pose, and then inhale it back up. Try to get that natural curve back. And then one more time, lay it out and try to roll onto the upper rim of the pelvis. I just want to take a quick peek and then try to bring it up. And if you're shaking all over tarnation, yep, you're doing it right. Go ahead and put your left shin in front of your right. Not meaning you have to shake, meaning it's very common, right? Get tall in the spine and then go ahead and fold that over. We'll do cat-cow in a second. That's going to feel divine after that, by the way. And once you soften in, hopefully left buttocks, but you know, you feel it where you feel it. Notice. Maybe you sway the shoulders, the upper body just a little bit right to left, if that helps you access anything else in this stretch or different parts. And then you're going to wander over to the right, lengthening that left arm forward and away. And again, play with the ribs today. You may rotate the ribs a little to the right thigh, or you might rotate them up to the sky. And you might keep doing that. It might itself feel super awesome. Or maybe when you do that, you're like, ooh, right here is where that muscle gets length. And you pause and you breathe into it. Coming back to center, inhale and up. Now you can either just roll over. This is not everybody's hips and knees, I know, but some of us can roll over and just step back, or you'll uncross the legs, swing the knees around, and we'll meet in hands and knees. Please feel free to support those knees if that's right for your body. And then from there, moving into cat-cow. Again, I'm going to let you just kind of take your cat-cows. You know this move plenty well without me. And maybe close your eyes so that when we play with balance in a little bit and possibly lift a limb, we might get a sense of where we are in space right now with all four limbs planted, right? And then after you have come to completion with, I didn't say which one to do first, do that other part of the cat-cow and come back to your neutral. Right? Really root down through your shins, your feet, your hands, and your finger pads so you feel that energy rising up into you. Imagine that you're doing the push-pull on your thighs. See if you can't find your TA, transversus abdominis, aka corset. That has many names. Now from there, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to try to maintain everything you have going on without the body shifting to the left with what we're about to do. You're going to inhale the right arm forward and up, bicep next to ear-ish, right? So we've been in this pose, or the arm next to the ear a number of times already, right? So I'm not saying it makes it easy, but I'm wondering if you can tell where you are in space right now, right? So move the buttocks bones back, reach the fingers forward, try not to shift to the left. Notice where your head is, your neck in relationship to the rest of your spine, and bring that hand down. Keep the eyes closed, recalibrate, really rooting down through shins, feet, and hands. Try not to shift to the right as you maybe lift that left arm up and start to play with balance, right? With the eyes closed. So let both buttocks reach back equally as the left arm reaches forward, soft left shoulder. Bring that hand down and then open your eyes. See if your hands made it back to the place they were in. That might be another thing, proprioceptive sense. Let the knees go wide, big toes touch. Take a child's pose to give your arms and your wrists a little break. And then we're gonna come up and do one more piece to that. You can always make a little stack for the forehead and bring the floor up to you if that feels nice on the neck. I don't know, we get into these things where we think the end all be all is you're supposed to have your hips on your heels, you're supposed to have your forehead on the ground, but that is not true. And that's not available to a lot of different bodies, right? So how do you make this pose comfortable for yourself? And if it's not comfortable at all, I would say come out of it, lay on your back, or find another pose where you can soften. And that doesn't make you a bad person if you don't like child's pose. People might try to make you feel like it, but it's not true. Come on up to hands and knees, right? Bring those knees back in, widen the feet back out. Close the eyes and find your neutral here. Reach, straighten, lengthen your right leg behind you. So this is the traditional one that we usually do, right? We're gonna keep that left hip in as we lift the right leg to hip height. We're going to keep the ribs and the low belly toned up as we maybe reach the left arm forward. And we're trying to do this with closed eyes today if we can. Push the heel back and reach the hand forward. And if you need your eyes open, open them, or maybe you open them for a second and play with closing them. And again, this is working your vestibular system, right? Go ahead and bring that down to the ground. You can recalibrate if you want to make sure that you can open the eyes to make sure your hand went back to neutral, etc., right? And then close the eyes if you can. Straighten the left leg behind you. Push the heel back, chest forward. Try not to let the right hip move to the right as you lift the left leg. And try to stabilize. Maybe it's just this today, but maybe that right arm also reaches forward. And notice which side feels more difficult to balance in. I'm wobbling a heck of a lot more on this side. Again, maybe the eyes open and then you close them and play with closing them. If you're like, no, there's no way I can close my eyes and balance. And then that's good to note. Bring the hand down, bring the leg down. It might be muscular, but it might be your vestibular system, right? Walk your hands a little forward in front of your shoulders, curl the toes under, and make your way back. If you feel like pedaling the legs out, and you can have your eyes open for this part now if you want. You can also have it closed, them closed. So go ahead and just wiggle your wiggles out for a second, whatever that is, swaying the hips, pedaling the feet, you name it. Go ahead and just take those extra breaths to open up the bits and pieces of the body, right? And then try to come to stillness. You can always have those knees a little bent if that helps you find your upper back particularly, right? The length of the spine. Where is your neck in position to the rest of the spinal column? Take one more breath here. And then we're going to walk our hands back to our feet. If it's okay for you, Amy, just, be cautious. And if it's not right for your back, don't do it. You bend the knees and you grab onto the elbow points and you soften the spine down and try to find any extra length you can in between the vertebrae. But if you're really tight or you have low back sensitivity, you might just put your hands on your shins and reach the chest forward and work a half forward fold. Put the other forearm in front, my friends, in the fold. One more breath here, wherever you are. And then close the eyes if you can, hands on the hips, elbows up, inhale, reach the chest forward and slowly bring yourself up with the eyes closed if it's available. And bring those hands down. Feel free to open the eyes to walk yourself up to the front of your mat. We are going to bring a knee down, so feel free to leave the blanket there. Standing up nice and tall. If you want those blocks, you want them at the top of your mat usually. It's a good place to start with yogurt anyway, most folks, teachers. Inhale, reach those arms out and up, eyes open for the first one. Exhale, folding in, just a half salutation this first round, by the way. Hands on the shins and reach the chest forward. Exhale, folding in. Arms can extend out or hands on hips, whichever one feels the best for your body this morning, the one you brought here. And exhale, arms down. So now you're going to try that series with your eyes closed. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. I'll never take it away from you if you need it open. You know that. Exhale. I like to bend my knees a little bit so I don't lock out. That takes my balance away in about a second, right? Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, fold in. Whatever arm variation you want with the eyes closed, right? Inhale, come all the way up to standing. How does that balance feel in your feet in that main transition at the end there? And exhale, bring the arms out and down. Now, leaving the eyes closed or closing them upon arrival, you're going to play a little bit. Again, just follow my voice. You know directions better than you think you do, right? You're just going to let the weight move forward in the ball mounds of the toes, almost like you would fall forward if you went too far. Try not to go too far. Open the eyes if you need to, right? But try to keep them closed and play with it. Now rock back until you're so far back in your heels, you're almost going to fall over. We're retraining the brain right now, yeah, to know where the center is. Come back through center. Now we're going to go right to left. So you're going to let your body move over to the right. I always think this is kind of like Bob Fosse or MC Escher is. Come on back to center and lean over to the left a little too far. Not so far you fall, but to your edge where you're about to, yeah? And now you're going to try and go in a circle. So now keep it over the left and then reach it forward, circling to the right, and then back. Try to do one more circle that way. Right? And then when you get to a place to change positions, you'll go ahead and move the other direction. And just notice if there's a part of the circle that's more difficult. Is it always when you go over to the left that you want to fall over? That's harder for your brain. And then come right back to the center where you're in the middle of all of those directions, right? And what we often call the four corners of the feet. Iyengar, they work with three, the very center of the heel, right? And you can open the eyes or leave them closed. Inhale, reach the arms out and up. We're going to go into a lunge, just so you know. Exhale, pardon me, folding forward. Feel free to bend those knees. You can grab your blocks. You can probably find them without your eyeballs. It's crazy, yo. Inhale, reach the chest forward and bend your knees. Plant your hands and step your left foot back. Working that long lunge line that I love so much before we bring the knee down. So left heel reaches back, the leg is lifted, it's straight, chest is forward, crown of the head is forward. Keep that right hip in and back, and for one breath, inhale your right arm forward, and maybe the eyes close if they were open just for a moment to play with balance. Maybe the left arm reaches up today, maybe it doesn't. That's an awfully strong move, and it might totally screw your balance, but that's good to know. Bring the hands down, bring the left knee down, uncurl the toes, and inhale, reach those arms forward and up to come into Anjaneyasana, right? And again, eyes can totally be open, but you can play with this eyes closed business all day today if you would like to, right? Again, start to train your brain to know where the balance is without you having to look at something. Bring the hands down, stepping back to downward facing dog. Right, some of the work that happens with people, especially if they have, brain injuries or things like that, where they have a really hard time with balance, is closing the eyes and playing with balance in order to try to refire neurons, right? Retrain those neural pathways of balance. Inhale the left leg up into the air behind you and step that forward between the hands. We're going to be in our high lunge, eyes open or not, closed or not. Lengthen, right heel back, chest forward, crown of the head forward. Keep the left hip in, and then maybe that left arm reaches forward. Maybe you close the eyes for a moment, right? Maybe the right arm lifts up. Does that totally take your balance out? But when you open your eyes, is your balance there? And then can you close them again and play with that? And bringing the hands down, stepping forward to the top of your mat. Inhale the chest forward. Exhale, fold in. And inhale, arms out. Come all the way up. Exhale, arms down by the side. Now you can leave your eyes open for this series. We're going to move in and we'll come back to some of this. Inhale, reach the arms out and up a little later. Grab onto your elbow points, right? And pull your elbow flesh up. not your shoulders, right? Your shoulders stay soft. They'll come up a little bit, but it's because the length you're providing, right? And then once you have that, notice how your side waist gets a little longer. Maybe even that back waist for those of us who are rib flarers lengthens. Now go ahead and fold in. You can reach the arms out and down. We're going to use that motion later, just so you know. Inhale, reach the chest forward. Bend your knees, plant your hands, right leg steps back this time. We're moving into a twist. Knee can come down, otherwise right hand under right shoulder regardless. Left hand on left thigh. Lengthen the chest forward and start to turn towards your left thigh, right? Maybe that left arm is going to reach up. And as always, the more you push into the right hand, the more the right shoulder blade finds its space on your back. And then can you rotate the ribs? The more the left shoulder rolls back, that's kind of a rib rotation helper, right? Maybe you turn and look up. That's easier when the shoulders are away from the ears, by the way. And now is your right leg kind of sagging down. That's not the worst thing. It can if you want it to, but maybe that heel pushes back and you engage that muscular line. Bringing the hands down, stepping back to plank, top of a push-up, or just straight back to downward facing dog. They're both on the table, right? Heels reach back, chest reaches forward. All of that core work, those little bits and pieces I have you do throughout the entire class, it's this, right? But it's way harder here in plank. Exhale back, downward facing dog. But that's why we do that work. So when we get to plank, when we play with headstand or all these other poses that ask us to find that line, right? Maybe we've trained the muscles enough that they can find it. Inhale the right leg into the air behind you and step that forward between the hands. Find your high lunge. Left hand on a block or the ground under left shoulder, right hand, right thigh. Lengthen first, and then once you have that space between your vertebrae, then bring it into the twist. Maybe that right arm reaches up, right? And then play with, the more you push into the left hand, the left shoulder blade finds its home on the back. And then the more that right shoulder lifts up, both of those two things combined, the shoulder blades, that's crazy, right? That helps the rib cage turn. Maybe you look up. Again, if your shoulders are away from your ears, that's a heck of a lot easier. Go ahead and bring the hand down, and you're going to step forward to the top of your mat. Inhale the chest forward. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, your variation with your arms brings you all the way up. My only request is the long spine. Exhale, bringing those arms on down. Now this time we're going to come down onto our bellies, so that may make you move whatever you had underneath your knee. And I just want to point out one thing, that when we go down, it's not exactly an upper back day, but we're talking about the length of the spine, right? We work on that so much. So when you go through this transition, right? Notice that I have a long spine here, and then right here, it'll go into a rounding at the last little bit. I'm going to move those blocks so you can see me. And then right here, I get that long spine back. And what most people do is to get down, suddenly that gets lost, and then they grab the ground, and then they're stepping back, and then they're trying to find plank from there, right? So I'm curious as to what happens if you try to keep your back as much as you can, and when you step back to your plank, maybe you have some of that positioning already in there. Now, a lot of that depends on arm length and all the stuff. I'm a short-armed girl, so it's hard for me, right? But let's play with it. Inhale, reach those arms out and up. Long spine. Grab your elbow points, pause, and lengthen as much as you can. Pull the elbow flesh up, right? I'm just trying to show you my upper body. Now fold in. Hands on the shins, reaching the chest forward, right? Now keep that length if you can. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step your right foot back, step your left foot back. Here we are in plank. Put the knees down if you'd like. Move the heels back, chest forward. Find that core. Now come forward on your tippy toes, and you're going to come down through your push-up all the way down to the ground. And then from there, uncurl the toes. Inhale up into low cobra. Nothing too fancy with our low cobras today, right? And exhale down.
One more time. Inhale up into low cobra. Some little reminders. Elbows moving in, shoulder blades towards the buttocks. And the low back support, of course, is that belly pulling forward between your hands. Now you're going to transition and just straighten the arms back. The upper arm bone doesn't really move. It's literally just at the elbow that we find that. Now reach the fingers back, reach the toes back, and then maybe reach the toes back so much they lift about an inch. This is a reminder, we haven't done this in a while. Make sure your pinky toes are heavy so your inner groin roll up and your inner bum releases. Take a breath. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry about it. Go ahead and turn your head one direction and palms might turn up. Go ahead and soften down. I'm going to keep myself lifted a little bit for vocal quality. And breathe. If you have glasses, you can also support the head with one of the hands. And then from there, bring your forehead to the ground. If interlacing is in your realm, interlace, or maybe it's thumb lock or grabbing strap, right? Press into the tops of the feet, thighs lift, pinky toes heavy, and then start to roll those shoulders up and reach the knuckles back to amplify that, right? Now keep pulling your belly forward between where your hands were, or to the top of the mat, I could say. Reach the toes back and maybe they lift. And right there, I'm one of those people where I have to readjust my pinky toes again, because as soon as I lift them, my outer groin love to take over, right? So my inner groin are asked to participate. Take another breath and lengthen. And exhale, coming down, turning the head the other way. Again, feel free, glasses wearer, to put one hand under it. Otherwise, hands by the side. Go ahead and take a stretch into that beautiful neck of yours, but soften. One more breath. And then go ahead and bring your forehead to the center. Bring your hands next to your low floating ribs. Curl the toes under. Feel free to use knees here, right? But you're going to push the ground away and you're going to try to keep yourself a wooden plank, meaning it doesn't bend, right? So pull the low belly up and then push into the hands. Hopefully that spine came up like a wood plank, and then you exhale back. Whatever option you chose, we'll meet in our downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then breathing. Maybe closing the eyes, noting whether or not you're pushing down equally through both hands. And then check into the feet. Are both feet equally pushing down into the earth? I'm pretty lopsided. I have to remind my right side, my upper body, to help. It's not the only way I'm lopsided. Take an inhale, and on an exhale, come up on your tippy toes, bend your knees, look forward. You're going to step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale and reach that chest forward. Exhale, folding in. And inhale, arms out or hands on hips. Come all the way up to standing with that long spine. And exhale, bring those arms out and down. So we're going to go into Warrior One. I feel like I should have that back just a little bit. You're missing a lot of my upper body, aren't you? Sorry, I'm going to do a little readjustment. Little better, yeah? Okay, so from there, go ahead and with your hands on your hips, you're going to step your left foot back first. We're going to move towards Warrior One, if I didn't say that yet. That left heel reaches back so the left hip can wrap towards the front, right? Hands on the hips to start. You're going to go ahead and just bend the right knee. Let's just coax this psoas. We haven't done a ton in there. And inhale, straighten. Push that back heel down so much that the right knee really has to work to bend, because that left heel doesn't want to let it go, right? Opposition. There it is again, always. And straighten. And then go ahead and bend in, and this time just look down and make sure my knee is a little out in front of my heel. It's easier on my knee joint to get it under, so I'm going to adjust my stance. And then reach the arms forward and up, pulling those frontal hip points up. Grab your elbow points, right? Pull the elbow flesh up. So we've already worked this in an easier pose, so it would hopefully be easier to find here. Reach that left heel down and lengthen up, up, up. For anyone who has low back issues in Warrior One, this is my favorite way to get out of the low back, right? Pull and lengthen your low back. Now, maybe the arms reach up, but maybe they don't today. Those shoulders, please don't box them down, but don't push them up to the shoulders. Find your happy medium and shoulder land. Yep. And taking another breath from there, left hip just a little forward, right knee maybe bends just a little more now that you've been there, if the body's receptive. Don't force it into anything. And then go ahead and put your hands on your hips, roll onto your ball mounds of your left foot and step that left foot forward. Bending the knees, stepping the right foot back. And you're going to push that heel down. You're going to try to wrap that right hip forward, hands on hips initially. Go ahead and bend your left knee. Again, just start to coax that right psoas open, right? And inhale. And some of you are saying, right, psoas, all I feel is calf. Yeah, that too. Go ahead and bend the left knee, but push the right heel down so much that the left knee really has to work for it. Yeah. And straighten. We're going to hold this next one. So when we bend in, we're just going to take a gander, right? And make sure that we have that ankle under that knee-ish, if that's the most comfortable position, right? Inhale, reach those arms forward, frontal hip points up. Other forearm, just go the way you always go if you're not sure, and put the other one in front. And then pull the elbow flesh up and feel how that starts to pull you out of your low back and it lengthens the side waist, right? And that's brilliant. Now keep that. Soften the shoulders and maybe those arms extend. Maybe they don't. Maybe you're really grooving on the elbow cross. Awesome. The forearm cross. Do it, right? Push that back heel down. Maybe you can push it down a little more and maybe that left knee bends just a touch more now that you're in, right? And go ahead and straighten the leg, hands on the hips, and come onto the ball mounds and try to use that beautiful core. And you notice I go through jackknife, that pose I always make you do. I wonder why we do it all the time, right? One more time, and this time we're going to do humble warrior with the interlace behind us. Hands on the hips, bend the knees, and step your left foot back. So the setup is the same. Before we interlace behind, go ahead and bend the knee. You're going to interlace or cross the forearm, sorry, and you're going to pull up and lengthen that low back. And then keep that side waist and low back. That doesn't change. We bring our hands back, we lock thumbs, interlace, or you can just do palms facing each other. That's fine too. Reach the knuckles down, left heel too. Reach the chest forward and up. And then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna start to fold over the right thigh. And I say over, but you're not over, you're more inside of it, right? And then maybe those knuckles keep reaching straight back. Some of us, the knuckles might reach up a little bit. And then find something to look at. Let your neck soften and look back towards your left heel, if that's okay with your neckline, right? So the shoulders are lifting, the elbow or the knuckles are lifting, right? Now, here's where we're gonna play with vestibular action, right? No way. See if you can close your eyes. Keep looking at your heel and then close the eyes, looking in the same direction. Don't move the eyeballs. See if you can hold it. You can open the eyes if you're like, no way, Jose. And then for transition, we are going to open our eyes, but that said, if you want to play with the eyes staying closed, right? Reach the knuckles back and start to lift yourself up. Maybe the arms reach up for one more point, a breath in warrior one. Put the hands on the hips, ball mounds of the left foot, jackknife, and try to step that foot forward from your core action. Ha, ha, ha. You're either like, I don't know about this vestibular stuff, or you're like, whoa, this is kind of cool. I guess there's no in between. Those are the only two options. Go ahead and bend your knees and step that right foot back. I don't believe that to be true, by the way. Reach that right heel down, right hip forward, left hip back, right? Bend that left knee, reach up, other forearm in front. Go ahead and lengthen, pulling the elbow flesh. So you pull out of your low back, right? The side waist gets long. Now do not change that, please. Reach the hands back, interlace your palms face each other. They're both on the table. And then we're going to start to fold forward, right? So the more my right heel roots, the easier all of what I'm about to do becomes. That right heel is my deepest root down into the ground. And then maybe the knuckles reach up a little bit, but they don't have to. Shoulder heads lift no matter what. Now, see if you can look back towards your right heel, softening the neck, and that might be your balance point. That might be plenty. You might be like, oh, holy crap, and you're in your challenge zone. Awesome. Maybe you keep looking there with your eyeballs, but you close the eyelids over the eyeballs, right? And maybe those knuckles reach up, maybe they don't, and you play with balance. Open the eyes if you're like, no way, Jose, we don't want to fall and hurt knees, but we do want to play with our vestibular system. You can open the eyes for transition, or maybe you keep them closed. Root that right heel down, reach the knuckles back. Root that right heel down, reach the knuckles back. Root that right heel down, reach the knuckles back. And maybe those arms reach up for one more warrior one breath. Hands on the hips, ball mounds of the right foot, jackknife. Find your core to try to float that right foot forward. Reach those arms down. At the beginning, I did say I was moving slow. I didn't necessarily say we wouldn't do strength, right? Close the eyes. And I am wondering if you can feel the weight between the three corners of the feet, ball mounds of the big toe, ball mounds of the pinky toes, and the very center of your heel. And this is not everybody that's on this Zoom class, right? But some of us who let our ribs move gently forward, don't grab your elbows, but imagine you're grabbing them like we've been doing them, grabbing them. And can you lengthen that area of the back waist? Open the eyes. From there, bend your right knee. Hands can come to the hips, by the way, or they can stay down, whatever works for you. We're going to tree pose. Go ahead and let the knee move out. Bring the foot in. Toes can totally stay on the earth. You might lift the leg, just nowhere, anywhere but the knee joint, please. Get that left hip to fire up. You can leave the hands here. I'm going to warn you, we're going to try and close the eyes, and we're probably going to fall out, and it's okay. I do too. Maybe the hands come to the heart if that's your zone. Maybe the arms reach up. Find out where your zone is, knowing you're going to have to close your eyes. Yeah. Push that, root that left heel down. Feel that foot pushing down, and then maybe I haven't even closed my eyes and I'm falling over. Right? Maybe you close the eyes, and maybe the toes come down and you open the eyes, and you put the foot back up. And when you feel stable, maybe you close the eyes. This is the hardest one we'll do today with this eye closing balancing business, by the way. I have yet to hold it for more than a hot second. And then bring that foot down and bring the arms down. Find your neutral, close the eyes for just a second. Feel the rooting of the three corners of each foot. Most of us don't weight the heel down, just so you know. Check into that. Now open the eyes for transition, hands on the hips. Bend the left knee out, foot moves in. Wherever you want that foot to live, knowing I'm going to ask you to challenge yourself and close your eyes. I stay lower for this business because there's no way my foot's going to be up on my thigh and I'm going to be able to do it. Your hands get whatever position you feel will be the most beneficial for you with your balance. Doesn't have to look like me. Play with it, right? And then once you find your solid, if there is such a thing, right hip in, maybe those eyes close. Okay. And if you fall out of it, then you open the eyes, get yourself set up again, and then maybe you close the eyes. So I don't know about your guys' experience. I mean, it's hard on both sides, but man, I cannot hold the right side to save my life for even a second. You can open the eyes and bring the foot down, but my left leg, which to you, I'm saying right because I'm mirroring you, but it's my left leg, I can actually hold it for a little bit. They're two totally different things, right? Eyes open, they're different too, but boy, with my eyes closed, it's very different. Okay, we're gonna come on down to our buttocks. I invite you to come through chair with me. Inhale, reach those arms out and up. Maybe you grab the elbow points and play with that line today. Can you keep your back waist long and your low belly toned in even as you sink down through chair? If you need to release the hands or fingers to the ground, please take care of yourself, friends. Meet me on the ground. And we're actually going to go straight down onto our back and do a couple of things there before we do Shavasana. So when you move into it, I want you to notice that we start off with that long spine, or I often ask you to, I should say, with our natural lumbar curve. But then right here, we lose the lumbar curve, right? We go into that cat pose, but we still try to keep our shoulder blades down our back, reaching our chest forward. So this is a variation of that half boat pose that we just did at the beginning of class. And I said I was going to make you do some bridge work, but I'm a big old fat liar because we're at time. Let's do one bridge. Well, I'll put the challenges in there. You can take them if you want to. If you're like, yeah, and don't do it if not. Just do regular old bridge if you're like, no way, Jose. Feet on the ground, feet hip distance. You're going to go ahead and you're going to inhale up into bridge. And then interlace or grab edges of mat, whatever works. We've done some interlacing today, so that might seem accessible at this point in time. Reach your knuckles towards the bottom of your mat, right? Push down into said mat. Push your all three corners of both feet down. Now, lift your right heel, heel only. What do you need to turn on to potentially bring the knee into the chest without your right hip falling? Try to gauge that, try to turn it on, and then maybe your challenge will be to bring the right knee towards the chest and then push the right heel up to the sky. Does this remind you of the being in class, by the way? Push the right heel up, but push the left heel down, push the arms down, bring that right foot down to the ground. We got one more of those, friends, and then that'll be it for our heat. So don't lift the leg yet. First, neutralize. Now lift just the left heel. Don't be speedy about it. What do you have to turn on so the hips and the spine don't move? Now try to bring that left knee into the chest. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you just leave the heel up. Maybe you push the left heel up to the sky and the left heel pushes up and the right heel pushes down. All three corners of both feet working into their imaginary surfaces, and put that left foot down on the ground. Release the hands, release the shoulders, roll down one vertebrae at a time. Bring the knees in towards the chest, softly, gently. We just did back bends, but it probably feels quite divine to go into the part of the spine you know the best. Maybe rocking right to left. Me too, me too. And then from there, we're gonna go into arms teed out, a twist, and legs coming over to the right. But I'm gonna ask that you actively hug the knees in, at least for the first part. But then, you know, if the knees need to move away from the chest to get your toes down so you can soften, please do. Turn the head to the left. For some of my friends, if the knees are a little closer, your right hand or right arm might come up and rest on the top of that left thigh. It's not yanking it down so much as it just becomes a weight. And to just think of this as an unwinding in your spine, right? We didn't do tons of twists today. So it's not a twist class. It's just trying to relieve all of the muscles of the back body along the spine, even your core to an extent, your not your core, your abdominals to an extent. Inhale the legs back up to center. Again, actively hug them as you move over to the left, just for the beginning part. But then, yeah, they might need to come away for you to settle and soften, and that's totally fine. Maybe the head turns to the right, softening the right shoulder down. Maybe that left hand or arm comes up onto the right thigh. And scan through. Is there anything that's tense you can let go of? Inhale those legs back up. Let's put our feet on the ground. Let's lift our hips and roll our pelvis, our tailbone a little forward and roll back down just to make sure we're centered, right? And bringing those arms down into position, Shavasana style, right? And those feet can, of course, stay on the ground, feet wide, knees lean in, or your legs can extend all the way out. You get to choose which one feels the best in your body today. And for my friends, you know, especially who are at home, you can always put a blanket underneath your thighs or some blocks if you want that happy medium between feet on the ground and legs extended. And the beautiful part about us closing our eyes at this point is that we don't have to worry too much about balance, right? We've got that back body against the floor. So feel that. And as we start to fine tune our sensory awareness, just in general, practicing in this way so often, maybe you're noticing if something feels like it's more, like maybe the right shoulder is more weighted than the left, or maybe you're noticing that your right hip is a little higher up than your left, etc. Any of those little asymmetries. And some of them, they're chronic, or maybe it's structural in your body. And maybe that is the way it is. But some of them, we can make minor adjustments potentially and try to even
the body out as much as we can. You know, for being asymmetrical beings, you're never going to get symmetrical, but we can move towards it. If you have any muscles holding on that you can let go of, please do. And when the to-do list or the memories or the thoughts might start to come back in, just so gently use that breath or bodily sensations or sound, something sensory. Use something sensory to come back to. And then try to stick with that one point of concentration, whatever you chose, the breath, right? The skin, the ears, try to stay with that as your point of concentration. Just keep returning there as often as you need to, as often as you remember, and maybe you forget the whole time and your mind was off somewhere else, and that's okay too. It's okay. Stay soft on the ground, try not to move, but we're just going to do just a brief little breath exercise before we come up. We've been playing a little bit, or I've been introducing the retention of the exhale, right? So I'm going to talk about it for just a moment, and then we're going to try and do it together. So we'll inhale together, slow, steady, wave breath like we usually do, right? Soft belly breath. We'll exhale. At the end of the exhale, when the air is out, right? And you don't have to pull the belly down and up and like try to expel every last bit of air. Don't effort. Just let the exhale be natural. And then you're going to hold that breath out. And we're going to try and hold it for 6 counts. And when I'm at the end of the 6 count, you'll inhale one slow, steady breath. And if you cannot, that means you've held your breath too long, and you'll do it a little less next time, right? We're going to try and do 2 for a count of 6. We're going to try and do 2 for a count of 8. And then we'll see where we are time-wise, but I'd like to try and do 2 at the count of 10. So let's take an inhale so we're together. And exhale, slow, steady exhale, top to bottom. And then hold your exhale out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow, steady inhale. Remember, if that's hard to inhale after that, you might be holding it too long. You would do a shorter retention. Exhale from chest to belly, soft and gentle. And hold the breath out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. We're going to try and go to an 8 count. You don't have to hold it that long. Exhale. Holding it out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale. Hold the exhale out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, and here's how we're going to do it. Instead of going to 10, I want you to exhale, and you're just going to hold it out to whatever your comfort level is until you intuitively know to inhale, and you'll do that twice. So same thing, you'll exhale, you'll hold the exhale out as long as comfortable in your body, and then inhale. And then after that second time, when you go back to your regular breath, then you can just start to do the wiggles, the reaching of the arms overhead. If any of my friends are worker bees, I'm running us a little long. I apologize. It is 10 o'clock right now. But if you have an extra 2 minutes to give me, we'll say, we'll be done very shortly. Bending the knees, you'll roll over to your side, looking down, whether the eyes are open or not. That keeps the neck soft. Push the floor away. Come on up. Sitting up nice and tall. Bringing the palms together in front of the chest. Inhale. Keep that chest lifted. Exhale, bow your head. And just take a moment of gratitude for at least one thing. And maybe remembering the intention. Maybe you want that to be your intention for the day, or maybe you'd like to set a new one. Namaste, friends.